All right, guys, welcome back. Today we are up to day 19 in my brand new series, 30 80s metal riffs in 30 days. And today we're covering the band WASP. The song is B.A.D. B.A.D. from 1984's self-titled WASP album. And this one's super easy. We're going to go through this quick. Couple things to say is grab the tab down in the description box, and also my free sweep picking guide, Sweep Picking Boot Camp. It's my free gift to you. Also, tune down a half step. Man, if you've been following along here, a lot of these riffs have been tuned down a half step. E-flat tuning, very common during the era. Kind of started with Jimi Hendrix, I think, back in the late 60s. And then Van Halen was always tuned down a half step, and so many other bands like Rat and many WASP, all these kinds of bands tuned down a half step. A lot of it was to help out the vocals, and some of it was it's just a heavier sound too. And for the guitar players, it's a little easier to play the guitar, so it kind of works out. So if you don't have a guitar set up in E-flat tuning and you're into 80s metal, I suggest buy yourself a new guitar or set one of your existing guitars up in E-flat tuning, just so you have one. I have a couple. This is an old Frankenstein type guitar. I've talked about this guitar before. This is I bought this, I didn't buy it, actually my parents bought it for me back in 1987, I think. It was my first real left-handed guitar. You can see by the neck here that it's not the original neck. It was a Kramer Focus 3000, and this was, after I wore it out, I got another neck from Warmouth, replaced the neck, same style. But this was a Kramer Focus 3000. I've since replaced the pickups with the Marzio pickups. It's still got the original Floyd Rose on it, and it still sounds pretty good. It needs a little work here and there. The volume pot is a little scratchy and could use an upgrade. Probably could use a refret and so forth and so on, but I hung on to this guitar. I had one other guitar before. It was a Fender Squier, where a buddy of mine flipped the nut around so I could play it left-handed, and that was my first guitar. It was a red and white Fender Squier, and then shortly after this came about. Anyways, I digress. So that's it. Let's for intros, let's get to the riff here. This is in the key of A. Again, we're tuned down a half step, and it's a very simple riff. So it's going to start out with the chords are going to be on the A and D strings, and you're going to use the A string open quite a bit. So here's the chords: 7 on the D, 9 on the G, and then 7 and 7 on the D and G. So the first time you're going to do this, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. Play the A chord twice, and then 7 and 7, which is a D chord, and back to 7 and 9. But you're going to play the A string first, and let it ring over all of that. Hopefully you can hear how cool that sounds. That's not reflected in the tab. You just see this, but you can't. The open A is implied, but it's should be ringing throughout all this to give a nice big open heavy sound. So now we're going to go up to 10 and 12 on the D and G. That's a C5 chord. Open A there, and then back to 5 and 7 on the D and G. Open A, 5 and 7 D and G, slide up to 7 and 9. if I do the whole riff slow, here's what you got. That's it. Super simple. And that's the beauty of some of these riffs, is that some of them are dead simple, really easy to play, but they still sound great. And some of them are very complex, and those are a lot of fun to play and work on your chops and get better at too. So when I was thinking through these riffs for the 30 riffs, I really wanted to have some of each so that they weren't so hard that players who are new to the game and have only been playing a couple of years couldn't play them. And then I didn't want them to be all so easy either, so that some of you more experienced players would get bored. So trying to mix some in and trying to throw in some riffs too that are a little out of the ordinary. I couldn't find any example of a tutorial for this riff online, so it might be the first one or the second one or something like that. But anyway, here it is. B.A.D. B.A.D. from WASP 1984. Make sure and grab the tab in the sweep picking guide down below. If I didn't say it before, this is I think I did. This is day 19 of 30. And so we've got 11 more of these to go here. And I'll see you on the next one. Rock on.